Welcome to part 2 of today's lace adventure. This is Arlene again, and now that I have removed the help, we can get on with the show. In this part of the video, you will get to see several kinds of cut work, and you will see several kinds of very intricate drawn thread work. In this first piece that you see here, there is a lot of threads that have been removed to create a fringe, and then when we go down deeper and looking close at the lace, you can see where there have been threads removed in here and a single thread along here that has been put in as a tie all the way around. The threads that were kept to create this design came from the center and from the edge. And everything that was here in the center of this each corner was removed, and they used a thread to create a spider web. And you'll take a little closer look, and you can see we have where they've tied the threads here with little dots, and then each of these has had a twist put around it to hold it in place to create the design. This is a very simple drawn thread and cut work doily that would have been used for a cocktail glass or cup. In this piece, you will see a purely cut work design where they have put together squares, and in between the squares, you have all of the beautiful design work that has been put in. You can see how each of the squares was tied in with a bar and sewing all the way around, so that this was originally one solid piece of fabric, and they took out each of the 5 blocks and then filled it in with buttonhole stitches and weavings to create the design that you see in the center of each block. The fabric is linen. This is a pair of kid gloves, and it's interesting because on the outside edges of the gloves there is this beautiful dove and flower, I'm thinking, and leaves design that was worked into it. They cut out sections of the leather and then went in carefully with buttonhole stitch and created the design that you see here. These would have been very pretty when worn. Moving on, you see in this video section a much larger cloth that would have been used in the center of a table or on a small end table with 2 rows of very intricate cut work. As we zoom into it, you will notice that in the middle section of each pattern you have this very interesting bar looking almost like a cross. It could very well have been a representative of a cross, given that this may have come from a Catholic country like Portugal or Spain or Italy. And then you have a spider and another one, and in the corners you see this very interesting sunflower that has been woven, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 petals to it, which is quite an intricate piece of work. And then on the outer border, you see there's the repeat of that sunflower, but in the corner is a much more intricate one with 2 layers of petals. And on the outer border, you also see in the spiders, every so often, little dots all the way along, which is not in the smaller border that's on side. This is the largest piece that I have in my collection at the moment. My large tablecloth, which I had found in an antique store, I saved and cleaned and blocked and gave to my niece Susanna when she got married 2 years ago. This one has very intricate designs in it. It is 24 by 24, and as we go in and look at closely, you can see the various different designs elements that are in it. You have this sunflower pattern right in the middle, like you see there. And then you have this four-way flower design there. You can see where there are still patches of the original fabric that they used to create the bars in between each of the design patterns. And then when you look closer at each of the corners of the central, whatever you might call it, pyramid-sized shape or whatever, you have this very beautiful four-petaled flower or star with a much more intricate center to it. And then as you go out, you see you have the simple spider with the drawn threads. And then on the outside border, you have another flower that's similar to the one that's in the middle, and it is bordered by spiders in this interesting area here. And each of these lines is actually a thread, as you can see how they pulled the threads from here all the way down into here. And then that thread goes back over to here to create that grid. And then around the outer edge, they made a seam that has pulled threads like this so that they could hide the fold over for the outer edge. I'm trying to turn this over so that you can see how they actually worked some of the back sides to move the thread from one area to the next in their work. This is a handkerchief, or maybe even a napkin, that was part of a collection that I acquired that had different colors of linen fabrics that had these intricate designs woven into each of the corners. This was created in Spain and is a very fine linen, and this one here is dyed green. As we zoom in and look at the corner, you will see that there are tiny little trees in each of the corner. And then they did some very fine embroidery work around it. And then you have these little corner sections with the stars. I quite like this piece. It's very delicate and elegant at the same time. Cut work could be found on all kinds of things. This happens to be a tea cozy for a teapot. It's made out of very, very fine gauze-like linen. And as we zoom in, you can see the intricacy of the stitches. What I find most interesting is with this one is how the threads form a weaving pattern. And then when you get into here, they actually did the needle weaving on top of a section of fabric, which makes this one a most unusual piece. And in here you've got the four-pointed petaled flowers and the sunflower type center to it. And then you have this particular flower, also the sunflower, which is a different flower from the other one. And then if you look here, this pattern is different from this pattern, as well as this one is different. These two are the same. Then down here you have this one, which is different, and this one, which is, and then this one here is the same as up here. So you have 1, 2, 3 different design elements that were overlaid on the linen fabric. Quite neat, quite elegant, and very, very dainty. And it is on both sides. I will flip this over as you can see. This is the other side. Again, you have the 3 different elements in it. And then around the edge, they did a very fine stitching with the pull drawn thread, and the hem is also, again, tightly put in, and it's very, you cannot see the edges on it, and you cannot see where it starts or where it ends. There was, when I bought it, that it was just one little damaged area in the fabric that's easily repairable. One thing about European-made needle laces, especially the drawn thread ones, is the fact that a lot of them seem to have this double pyramid shape to the center of them. This is probably the one piece that takes the drawn thread to extreme. As you can see, you only see the fabric in the center, and when you move down to the border, you see that they have removed a lot of the threads and created this open work with lots of daisies. And then a new element that you see in this one is where they have taken and created, there are 4 doves that you can see here around a star. And it's very, very elegant. And it must have been an amazingly long time to work on, to have all of this like it is. What this piece is not, is it is not put together so that it is absolutely square, and that is a good indication that it was made by somebody, because you can see from up here that's neither a circle or a square, or nor is it an octagon, but it's somewhere in between. They did well to get as much as they did to look the way it does. I love this piece. It's very interesting. And the next piece that you're going to see is something totally different altogether. This last piece that I'm showing of cut work was made in India. It is very coarse and very modern, and if you go down and we look closely, you can see that each design was created using a sewing machine that does the chain stitch. You can see how coarse it is and how they went in and they did all of the stitches first, and then they went back and they trimmed out the fabric. And then they did just a simple spider in between to hold the pieces together. It is not the greatest piece of lace, but it is interesting from the standpoint, it is just different. And so that was why it came into my collection. It didn't look very good when I got it, but I did the best I could in blocking it and cleaning it. And this is what I have today. Thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for watching this one, and I hope you learned something about drawn thread work and the various kinds of stitches that were used. If you like it, then like and follow it, and subscribe, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.